Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am super excited about today's Down and Dirty. I had the chance to sit down with Tim from Fetchco Excavating. He's one of their superintendents, and I was able to pick his brain about how he got into the industry and then how he progressed through his career. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this interview is because, as you guys know, I really have a beef with the whole mentality in this country that college is the only way to be successful. I did talk to Tim, and it will come out in the interview. He does not have a college education. And one thing I did not discuss with Tim, but I know from being in the industry, when you reach Tim's position, you're making six figures, and comfortable six figures too. So keep that in mind during this interview. This is a non-college educated professional doing his trade, making six figures a year, living a very comfortable life. So now, without further ado, let's flip over to the interview with Tim. Okay, so I guess my big question is, how did you kind of just get into the industry initially, and then how did you progress to get where you are today?
So for myself, I was born and raised on a dairy farm, and I just loved the equipment and the tractors that were on a dairy farm. As I was working my way through high school, I knew I did not want to go to college or anything like that. I wanted to be around equipment and work with my hands. So for me, it's the equipment is my passion. I love running the equipment. And then how did I progress to this? Well, so I learned when I was young, the more things you're able to do, the more valuable you are, not only as your pay, but getting a full week's work in when it's bad weather or rainy weather. You know, if you have mechanical skills or wrenching abilities, you can go into the shop and you can wrench on some stuff. I got my CDL when I was at a young age. I could get in a truck and move the equipment. So the more things I was capable of doing, the more it increased the odds that I would be able to work. And I've just taken that to the next level. I became a foreman at a pretty young age. Maybe 23, an opportunity opened up and I got asked if I would do it and took the challenge. And I really liked being the guy in charge because I could build the projects the way I wanted to build the projects, as opposed to, I was working with somebody a little less inexperienced or wanted to attack it a different way than what I didn't agree with. I was the guy in charge, so I could make the decisions.
And so roughly, how long did it take you to go from just one of the guys on the piece of equipment to foreman, and then from there, roughly, how long before you became a superintendent?
So I started as a top man on a sewer crew, which with the company I'd worked for before was also the dozer operator that pushed the dirt shut, the ditch shut. So I would hand the pipe down to the pipe layer, and then as they were digging a manhole and there was some more time, then jump on the dozer and backfill the ditch. So I did that for just a few months, and I was told that they saw that I had some dozer operating skills. So then I got moved to the dirt crew and got put on the dirt crew and got to learn, to do dirt work also. So I ran a scraper, a good old TS-14 for maybe a month or two, and again another opportunity came up that a dozer operator wasn't working anymore, and I got to be the dozer operator that worked with the dirt crew, the second dozer that pushed the pans. So I learned pretty quickly, how to move the dirt, and probably at the end of that season, one of our top guys got hurt, just fell off a pickup truck, hurt his shoulder. And the company was short a top man on the other sewer crew, so I went back to running top. So at a young age, I got to learn the pipe work and the dirt work, which there's really not a lot of people, at least that I know, that have the ability to do both dirt work and the sewer work. So it was just my mentality. I just wanted to learn as much as I could so that, I could be as helpful. And of course, my pay grew quickly. The ultimate motivation, I guess, is, increase your pay. So I ran top for that crew for probably half a season or so, and worked my way up to a hoe operator, mainline hoe operator. Did that for a couple of seasons, and then became a foreman. So maybe 3 years or so from when I got into the excavating business, I became it wasn't really a sewer crew foreman or a dirt crew foreman. I would go build sort of the smaller commercial sites that, you know, had a little bit of dirt work and had some pipe work on it, and I would go take care of those jobs. So I did that for, I don't know, 10 years, I suppose. I worked for that company for maybe a little longer than that. I think I worked for that company for 15 or 16 years. And it wasn't a big enough company that really operated on a with a superintendent level. It was just an owner that had 2 sewer crews and 1 dirt crew. So the owner sort of acted as the superintendent. So then when I come and work for John here at Fetchco, that's when I suppose 5 years working with John, then I worked my way up to superintendent.
So as a foreman, kind of generally, we don't need to go into great detail, but generally, what are your responsibilities and what's your day-to-day look like? And then as a superintendent, what does that look like and how do they differ?
So a foreman for us, and we'll talk more sewer work than dirt work.
Sure.
A foreman for us is managing 2 sewer crews on the same job at the same time. So that's almost like a superintendent for other companies. Our sewer crews run off of 4-man crews, and then the foreman's time split between the 2. So if they have grade problems or equipment problems or anything like that, the foreman helps work through that. So the foreman's responsible for releasing all the material they need on the job when they need it at their discretion, depending on if it's raining and wet or dry. Then putting the plan together for the sewer crews, you know, how far to lay to here to stop because you have another utility cutting across, and just keeping the sewer crews in plan and with the materials that they need. Now, superintendent for us is, you know, I could possibly be in charge of 2 or 3 foremen at the same time, you know, putting pipe in the ground, and, you know, my job is to you make sure the order is correct for all the materials, get everything in place so that the foremans have the right amount of stuff to release. Hey, I need to release the sanitary sewer, and all the right stuff comes out for the sanitary sewer. And then deal with the owners if there's poor soil problems or things like that, or potential change orders as to when you deal with the owners or the engineers with problems on the project.
Gotcha. And then my final question is kind of, as a foreman, you're pretty much just like any of the guys on the crew, you're 100% in the field pretty much all the time.
100% in the field almost all the time. You're probably half a working foreman and then half at your truck looking at the blueprints, organizing, ordering your materials. You have to keep track of all your cost codes for everything you put in the ground that day, all the guys' hours. You have to turn in equipment hours so that we can keep up on the maintenance of the equipment.
And generally, what I try to do with my channel is give people a very honest look at the position. Generally, as a foreman, you're pulling more hours than your guys because when they go home, you're still fixing stuff. Is that correct?
I would say no.
Really?
I would say no unless you're, well, maybe. We wouldn't want it to be that way.
Sure.
So if you're having to work more hours than your crews, then something's not quite right. Either the superintendent's not doing his job properly, getting you set up with the things that you need to as a foreman. And it depends on the individual too. You know, for myself, I learned at a young age that stress is awful. And for me, I don't take it home. I have the ability to hit the light switch and turn it off, and then turn it back on again in the morning and get my game face on and get ready to go at it. So I wouldn't want foremen to be working 2-3 hours a day more than what the crews work. I would prefer that they learn a little better time management skills and handle it while they're on the job.
Awesome. And then as a superintendent, what do your hours look like, and then what percentage would you say you spend in the field versus the office?
I'm probably 50-50 field, 50-50 office. I would prefer it to be more field work, but the office work needs done too.
Yeah.
As far as my hours, again, it's all in the I'm I'm not comfortable unless I've met my daily goals that I've set for myself. So if I haven't achieved my daily goals, you know, I may be in here till 6 or 6:30 at night. My drive home, I typically call the foremans that I'm working with and, you know, get an idea. How did you set this manhole? How far did you get? How's things going? Do you need anything? You know, usually try to cover that on the drive home. I usually get home around 7 o'clock at night. And again, when I get home, I hit the switch and turn it off. Now, of course, there's different times. You have different problems that it's not exactly like that, but that is the ultimate goal.
All right, I have one final question. You don't have a college degree, correct?
No.
And would you say that's pretty typical in the industry for the superintendent roles to not necessarily have a college degree or not necessarily need one if you make it through the field?
Absolutely. It's just hands-on field experience, and different levels of people learn differently. For me in high school, I didn't do well in high school. I didn't get good grades in high school, and it was because I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy that kind of learning, and I didn't apply myself. I paid attention in school. I wasn't one of the guys that was sleeping or anything like that, but I didn't take any homework home. I wanted to go out on the farm and mess with the tractors. I wasn't about to go up to my bedroom and do homework. Probably not great advice for young individuals out there. I don't preach that for my kids, but for me it worked. I learn pretty quickly for, you know, things that I enjoy and things that I like. So again, it has to be what you want to do. If you enjoy the work, you'll never work a day in your life, and that's the case for me. I just thoroughly enjoy what we do. I do. You get in the big equipment and you go do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah. So I hope that sheds a little light on just what you can do in this industry if you've got some drive and if you continue to hone your skills and hone your craft. This guy didn't have a college education. He was able to work his way up from running farm equipment all the way to being the superintendent at a pretty prominent company. And like I said earlier in the introduction, he is making comfortably 6 figures a year without a college education. So again, thank you so much to Tim. Thank you for Fetchco for letting me come in and interview. I really appreciate the opportunity to interview you guys, and I really appreciate the knowledge that you guys were able to give. So thank you again. I hope this has been helpful for you guys out there. If you have any questions, absolutely drop them in the comment section down below. If I don't know the answer, I now have contacts at Fetchco. I can make some phone calls for you. So let me know what your questions are, and I'll do my best to get them answered. In the meantime, we'll see you guys on the next video.